Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel SK Tech. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the vector class in Java, and we are going to cover like what is vector class, how to create the vector class objects, methods of the vector class, and some advantage and disadvantage of the vector class. And also we are going to see some couple of the examples. So let's begin. So first is like what is vector class in Java. So this is the hierarchy of the vector class. So basically this is the top root interface on the collection hierarchy is like iterable, then iterable will be extended by the collection interface, then it will be extended by the list interface, and then vector, and vector is also extended by the stack class. So we will see in next upcoming video what is the stack class. So in today's video, let's see what is vector class. So vector class implement the growable array of object. Means, so vector class is also implemented on top of the array data structure. Like in array, we will be having the fixed size, but in case of the vector, it will be having the growable array of the object, means dynamic in size in terms of the size. Okay. Second thing is like vector class falls in legacy classes, but now it's fully compatible with the collection. So what is legacy classes? We will see in couple of minutes. Third point we have to see here is like vector class is found in the utility package. So like all the collections, interfaces and classes are available inside the utility package. So it means that it is going to provide some utility to perform the operation on the collection. Okay, and implemented the list interface, as it is another implemented class of the list interface. We have already seen array list and linked list in previous video, right? So let's see the some of the important features of the vector class. So vector class implements the dynamic array, which means it can grow or shrink as required. Like an array, it contains the component that can be accessed using the index, right? So similar to that, element from the vector class we will be able to access using the indexes. Second point is like they are very similar to array list, but vector is synchronized. So we have already seen array list is non-synchronized, right? But vector is synchronized and has some legacy methods that the collection framework does not contain. And third point or third feature of the vector class is like it also maintains the insertion order like in array list, but still it is rarely used in non-threaded environment as it is synchronized. So synchronized means at a time only one thread can perform the operation. So this is the important feature of the vector class, and due to this it gives the poor performance in case of the adding, searching, deleting and updating its element. And this class will be useful if we want to make sure that at a time only one thread can perform the operation, and if the other thread is trying to access the element or trying to perform the operation, they need to wait it. So in those kinds of scenario, vector class will be useful, because array list or any other collections which are non-synchronized, that collection will be allowed to perform the operation by the multiple thread at the same time. So next feature of the vector class is like the iteration returned by the vector class are fail fast. So what do you mean by fail fast? So fail fast means only one thread can perform the operation. If the other thread is trying to perform the operation parallelly, then it will throw some exception, and that exception is nothing but something like concurrent modification exception. So in the case of the concurrent modification, it fails and throw the concurrent modification exception. So this is the another features of the vector class. Okay. So now let's see the vector class basically. So before the introduction of the collection framework, vector class was categorized as a legacy classes. So what is legacy classes? So legacy classes is nothing but the classes which are part of the earlier release of Java, but now they are reconstructed. Initially it was categorized as the legacy. It means none of the very few companies or very few product was using the vector classes because of this nature, because it was synchronized, right? And nowadays most of the product was using the concurrent, or you can say multi-threaded environment. So this is how the internally it will be look like, since it is implemented on top of the array data structure. So array means continuous memory location will be there, and indexing also would be there. So here we will be able to access the element based on the indexes. So at the time of getting the element, it will be fast, similar to the array list, but since this is a synchronized, so at a time only one thread can perform the operation. Now next point we have to see here is like this is how it is implemented, or after you can say after reconstruction, this is how the vector class has been implemented by the Java. So vector class basically internally is extending the abstract list. We have already seen what is the advantage of using the abstract list in one of the previous video, like in case of the array list and linked list, right? And since it is the another implemented class of the list interface, so it is implementing the list interface. Along with that, it is also implementing the random access, clonable and serializable interface. So we know that basic idea about the serializable, like the classes can be serialized only if it is implementing the serializable interface, and similar to that, classes can be cloned. Clone means we can create the replica of the same object with the same value. So that can be eligible only if the classes is extending, or you can say if the classes is implementing the clonable interface. So vector class basically internally implementing the random access, clonable and serializable interface. Now let's see how we can create the constructor object. So there are couple of the methods available, or you can say couple of the constructor available or provided by the vector class, by which we will be able to create the object of the vector class. So first is like using the default method. So in this method the size is not specified. So the default size of the vector is 10. So something like this, if you want to create the object of the vector class, so we need to provide the vector. So this is the generic way. Now we will be seeing the generic one only. So generic means we will be able to provide what kinds of data we want to store inside the vector. So vector data types, then variable name equal to new vector and the same data types here. So this is the one way. Second one is like by specifying the desired size. So here we are not providing any size, like how many data we want to store it. So by default it will construct as a 10. Now let's say we want to provide some desired size to make sure that those many size is going to be available by the compiler. We can do that. So basically it will be something like this: vector, then data type, then variable name, new vector, and again the same data type, and here we can provide some int data types. So that is nothing but the size of the vector. Third way is like by using the size and incremented attribute. So what do you mean by that? The incremented value is say that how many number of the element to be allocated each time when the vector size it get resized in the case of the upward. It means that let's say initially the vector size was 10. So let's say we want to insert the 11th element. So how we want to increment the vector size. So that value we can provide it while creating the vector class object also, something like this. So let's say vector data type, variable name equal to new vector, then again same data type, and here we can provide like initial size and then incremented size. Let's say initial size we have provided 10 and incremented size let's say we have provided again 10. So in case of inserting the 11th element, it will be going to increment the current size to the incremented size. So something like it will be become as a 20. So these are the couple of the constructor provided by the vector class, by which we will be able to create the object of the vector class according to our need. Okay. Now let's see the methods available in the vector class. So since vector class is also the implemented class of the list interface, so almost it is going to provide all the method implementation inside the vector class, but the only thing is like all will be synchronized, as vector class is synchronized. So again, similar to the any other collection like array list or linked list, one method is like add method with the specific position, and another add method with the only element. So this method is going to insert the element at the last by default, and this method is going to insert the element by the provided specified indexes. Next method available is like in add all. So something like with the indexes, we want to insert the list of the data inside the vector class, then we will go for the add all method with the indexes or without indexes. Then add element, again it is going to provide the another method that we want to insert inside the vector. Capacity, clear, clone and contain. So capacity means how many data or what is the capacity of the current vector class, that method is going to return. And clear means, and clear method it is going to clear the vector class. Clone method is used to clone the existing collection to the new collection. So it is going to create the replica. Contains method, again if we want to check any specific element is available inside the vector class object or not, then we will go for the contain method. Similar to that, we will be having the contain all. Let's say we want to check collection of the element are available inside the vector class or not. Then copy into, so as the name itself suggests, what we trying to do, we want to copy it into the some another object, element at. Similar to that, elements, list of the elements we want to return it, or we want to say list of the element at means we want to get the element at the specific position, or elements means we want to get the all the element. Okay. Ensure capacity. So this method is going to ensure the minimum capacity. Let's say we want to make sure that always vector class maintain the capacity of 20. So here we can provide the 20. So it is not going to keep the vector class size less than 20. Another method is equals method. So equals method is like very common method, is used to compare the equality of two objects. First element, let's say we want to get the first element. For each method, that is nothing but the Java 8 feature, we will see in the Java 8 concept. So here it is going to return one by one each of the element from the vector class. Next is get method. So based on the indexes we want to get the element, then we will go for the get. Hash code method. So hash code method is nothing but the very common method that is available in the every collection, right? That is going to run the hash code value, or you can say memory location of the object. Then index of with the specified index. So index of means what is the position, and from this position what are the object available, what is the position. Then insert element at. So similar to that, if you want to insert the element at its specific position, then this is the method. Then is empty method, iterator, last element. So similar to the first element, we want to get the last element. Then last index of, similar to the we want to get the position of the element from the first, then we will go for the index of. Last index of method is going to return the position of the element from the previous. Last index of with the specified position. Then the remove method, if you want to remove the element based on the indexes. Then some couple of methods are available inside the vector class, similar to the other array list or linked list class. So we have already seen, right? Remove all method, remove all elements with the specified object, retain methods, set method to update the vector class element, remove if, that is the predicate expected here. It means that it is going to remove the element only if this predicate is true. So this is the nothing but it is available in the Java 8 feature. We will revise this method in the Java 8 concept again. Range, remove range means if we want to remove the element from some position to some position, then we will use for this method. Replace all, let's say we want to perform the operation to replace one value in all the places. So we will go for the replace all. Similar to the replace all, retain all. So let's say in the list of element available in the vector class, and inside that only we want to persist list of the elements. So those list of the element we will pass here. So apart from those element which we are passing here, rest of the element it will be removed. Now these are now there are some couple of methods available like size method, sort, split iterator, sub list, to array with the specified type of the array, then to string, trim to size. So these are some methods available inside the vector class. Okay, we will see couple of the methods in this tutorial, and in separate video anyway we are going to discuss each and every methods available inside the array list, vector and linked list with the help of the example. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's see what are the operations that we are going to perform in today's video. So these are a couple of the methods that we want to perform it, like adding the element, updating the element, removing the element, iterating over the element, to array and size. So we have already seen this operation in the case of the array list and linked list. So let's go to the IntelliJ IDE and let's perform this operation inside the vector class. Okay. So let's create one vector class demo and let's create one main method. And here let's try to create the vector class object with the help of the default method, right? So what is that? So we need to provide like default and what kinds of element we want to insert it. So let's say integer, you can insert any types of the data, but this is the generic that we want to make sure that we are going to insert only integer type data and this. So to insert the element inside the vector, what is the method? The method is nothing but the add method, similar to the any other collection. Add, and let's say 101, and let's try to add some couple of the element. So this is what we can add it, and let's try to print it using the simple sysout method. So let's run this program and see the first, let's see the output. Yeah, so you can see that element has been inserted and it is displaying, and also you can observe here is that it is maintaining the insertion order. Okay, so all the list classes is maintaining the insertion order basically. So let's try to use another add method. So let's say we want to insert the element on 0th position. Okay, how we can do that? So vector dot add, or let's say we can use the add first element. So where it is going to insert. So let's say 100. Let's try to print it again and let's see the output. So you can see that by default it has inserted the element at the last position, right? Because we have directly used the add element. Now let's say we want to insert the element on the 0, 1, 2 third position. So how we can do that? So see, it is very simple. Add with the another overloaded method, that is nothing but we can provide the indexes and then value. So let's say we are providing like 108, and again let's print that and let's write something here, some statement updated list, or you can say vector list. So let's run this program and see the output. Yeah, so you can see that on the third position this element has been inserted. Now let's try to perform the update operation. So what is the method available to update operation? So that is nothing but the set. So let's try to use that set method. So set, let's say we want to update this third index only. Let's provide 2 and let's update it with the 107. Okay, and let's try to print it again here after update operation. So let's run this program and see the output. Yeah, so if you can see that it has been updated from 108 to 107. Next operation we are going to perform is like remove the element and iterating over the element. So let's remove this element. What are the element that we have inserted on the third position? So what is the method available? That is nothing but the remove itself. So we can remove the element based on the indexes since it is the integer type. So let's say we want to remove this element, and after the removal let's print this again. So let's say after remove operation. So let's run this program and see the output. So you can see that 107 element has been removed from the list. Next operation that we want to perform is like iteration. So we have already seen using the any kinds of the iteration, any kinds of the looping mechanism, we can use it and we can iterate it. But in this video, let's say we want to iterate it through the iterator only. So in the vector class also there is a method called iterator. It is going to return the iterable interface, right? So let's try to write the iterator, right? Let's write it equal to v dot iterator. So if you can see, this method is also available inside the vector class, and this is going to return the iterator types of the instance, and using the iterator we will be able to iterate over any kinds of the collection. So let's say we want to iterate it. So how can you do that? So there is a method called has next, next and remove, right? These are the three methods. Let's try to check that method. So if you can see that it has has next method, next method, remove method. So this method is going to return true or false if there is an element. This method is going to return the actual element, and this method is going to remove the element. So it is not going to return anything, and these are some couple of the common method which is available inside the object class itself. So now how we can iterate it? We can use simply while loop, and we can use the has next method, right? So this method is going to return true until and unless element is available, and next method available here inside that iterator is next. So that method is going to return the actual object. So let's print it and see the output. Next run the program and see the output. Yeah, so we can see that it has returned each element one by one, and we are able to print it. So next operation that we want to perform is like get the size of the element. So how many data are available? So there is simple method available, that is nothing but the size itself. So we can use vector class object and then size, and let's write some statement here also like size of vector list. Now let's run this program and see the output. Yeah, So it is printing like the element size available inside the vector class is 7. Next operation we want to perform is like to convert this vector class object to array. How we can do that? So in the vector class we have a method called toArray. Let's use that. So v dot toArray, and let's run this program and see the output. Yeah, so we can see here it is printing like object type, because this is converted into the array, but array is directly not able to print it here. That's why it is printing the hash code value of the array. Okay, so that's all we wanted to perform this operation. Now let's see the next topic that we want to discuss in today's video. So that is nothing but the advantage of using the vector class. So what is the advantage of using the vector class in Java? So first advantage of the vector class is like synchronized. So as we have mentioned before, vector is synchronized. So what is the meaning of the synchronized? Means it is going to make the safe in the multi-threaded environments. It means only one thread can perform the operation at a time, and other thread can be blocked if they are trying to perform the operation on the same types of the vector list. Next advantage of using the vector class is like dynamic in size. So we have already seen size of the vector can grow or shrink dynamically as elements are added or removed. So you don't have to worry about setting the initial size, that will be accommodated all the elements. Meaning if you created the vector class object without providing the size, by default Java is going to provide default size as 10, and according to the insertion of the element or deletion of the element, the size of the vector list is going to be updated. Next advantage of using the vector class is like legacy support. So vector is a legacy. It was declared as a legacy in the initial version of this Java, but later on it has been reconstructed. So this is going to provide some legacy support. So vector class has been part of the Java since its inception, and it is still supported. So it's a good option if you need to work with the older Java code. So this class will help to support that. That is nothing but the vector. So these are some of the advantage of using the vector class. Next we wanted to discuss is about like disadvantage of using the vector class in Java. So what is the disadvantage? So first is like performance. As we know, synchronization in vector can be lead to the slower performance compared to the other collection classes such as ArrayList, because only one thread can perform the operation at a time. That's why it is having slower performance as compared to the ArrayList, because ArrayList is non-synchronized. Second disadvantage can be legacy code. While vector is still supported, newer Java code is often written using the more modern collection classes. So it may be harder to find example and support for vector, but this can be advantage also and can be disadvantage also. Next disadvantage could be unnecessary overhead. If you don't need the synchronization feature of the vector, so using it will add unnecessary overhead to your code, because it is going to allow only one thread to perform the operation at a time. So if you want to perform the multiple operation, then you will not be able to use the vector class. So these are some couple of the disadvantages of using the vector class. Now let's see common errors in the declaration of the vector class. So vector throw an illegal argument exception if the initial size of the vector defined is negative. Like we have already seen, we can create the vector class object without providing any size. So Java is going to provide the default value. We can provide the value. So those values should be positive. If we try to provide the initial size of the vector is negative, it is going to throw an error like illegal argument exception. Next is like if the specified collection is null. So let's say if we want to create the vector class by providing some list of the collection, right? That is also possible in the case of the vector creation object, right? So let's say if those collection is null, so in that case it is going to throw null pointer exception. So these are some couple of the exceptions that can be detected while creating the, or you can say while declaring the vector class. So that's all for today's video. In next upcoming video, we are going to discuss about the set interfaces and its classes. So stay tuned. We'll meet you soon. Thank you.